Ms. Simon's here. We can go ahead and get started. Are we ready with the technology? Okay. I'd like to call to order the Cuyahoga County Council regular meeting for Tuesday, November the 26th, 2013. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Calling the roll, Mr. Gallagher.
Here.
Mr. Strawn.
Here.
Ms. Conwell. Here. Mr. Jones. Mr. Rogers.
Here.
Ms. Simon. Here. Mr. Greenspan. Mr. Greenspan is absent today. Mr. Miller.
Here.
Mr. Brady.
Here.
Mr. Germana.
Here.
And Ms. Conley.
Here.
There is a quorum.
Is there a motion to excuse Mr. Greenspan?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it, and please mark Mr. Greenspan's absence as excused. And will you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For our silent meditation this evening, let us all recall that 50 years ago today, this nation was still recovering from the shock of Dallas and the death of President John Fitzgerald Kennedy. As we move on to this Thanksgiving season, may we remember and support all of those in thanking and receiving a Thanksgiving blessings for all, and making sure that all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Moving on to item 5, is there any public comment related to the agenda?
Yes, Madam Chair, there is.
Okay, now we have a fairly long agenda this evening, and so everyone is entitled to their 3 minutes, but I'm going to cut you off at 3 minutes because we do have a fairly long agenda.
Okay. As I call your name, please come up to the podium, restate your name for the record, and then you will have 3 minutes to speak. The first speaker is Melissa, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your last, Vaca? Vaca.
Good afternoon, Councilor. Should I say good evening? My name is Melissa Vaca. I am here representing Sourcing Office, the Council of Governments that holds the contract with OfficeMax. I am here to make sure that I make a public statement on a few statements that Staples has made for public record. One being an apples to apples comparison of items. This phrase is really a moot point in that the office supply industry, OfficeMax and Staples both carry their own private label products, meaning they say OfficeMax or that they say Staples. The companies do not carry each other's private label products for obvious reasons, therefore making it impossible to quote exact matches in some cases. OfficeMax quoted an OfficeMax private label product where a Staples product was requested. If an OEM product was requested, for example, a Bic pen, OfficeMax quoted an exact match to a Bic pen. Both companies carry different products using different manufacturers and carry different units of measure. Staples also commented on gray areas in the procurement process and our response. OfficeMax feels, and so does Sourcing Office, we don't feel that there are any areas of uncertainty concerning the bid process. All companies were competing with the same criteria set clearly by the Office of Procurement and Diversity. OfficeMax met with the Inspector General to communicate our thoughts on the process and provided back up-to-date data which verifies our results. I'd like to thank Director Lockett for her comments at the last Public Works meeting. They were very well thought through, and the timeline that she put together that documented the OfficeMax was the best choice in 4 separate comparisons is accurate and very thorough. OfficeMax has been 100% transparent through the entire process and responded to each request in a timely and accurate manner. Both OfficeMax and Sourcing Office thank everybody for their time, their consideration, and we thank you for looking at our contract. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Mary Oliver.
The name is actually Mary Oliver Lidgy, for the record. I shortened it when I signed in. I'm sorry. I'm asking the council to consider the following. It has become very apparent that those who oppose the sale of the Archives building to Welcome House are viewed as callous and uncaring. This is far from the truth, and to be painted this way by the proponents is very unfair and unnecessary. I will speak for myself and others I know. We have nothing against Welcome House and would be happy if they found another home in the area. Our concern is the value of the historical building and the preservation of the archives. Nothing the county has done to date has given us any assurance the archives will be properly preserved, since at this time it is evident that they have been neglected. To sell the building with no assurance about the archives is, in my opinion, immoral. The administration can say what they will do, but actions speak much louder than their words. Please understand this is not an issue with Welcome House, but an issue with the county administration. We moved to Ohio City with, eyes wide open about the diversity in the area and want Ohio City to maintain that diversity. Disagreeing on a very important historical building and what it contains does not make us uncaring. In reverse, we care about the community as a whole and all that it offers. I am asking that the decision on the sale of the Archives building be delayed till there is a resolution on the preservation of the Archives. As a resident of Ohio City, I would very much like to see the building restored and the Archives remain here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Helen K. Smith.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry to be here to keep you here a little bit longer, but there are some issues that we feel that are still out there regarding the sale of the archives. Frankly, at this point in time, because of the flawed process that has occurred over the past year, a number of us are asking that you start over. Just begin the whole process again, and here's why. First of all, there's no comprehensive plan in place for the future of housing the archives at this point in time. The county did not accept the highest bid. The Ferran Group bid $750, Welcome House bid $650. The selected bidder has no firm financing and is very dependent on funds from highly competitive government grants. This is a statement by the Welcome House representative at this meeting of the whole on 5 November. Most of the county properties are in the downtown commercial district. The Sanford and the Rhodes mansions are in a neighborhood, a residential area. These structures are the most important landmarks in one of Cleveland's oldest neighborhoods. The special circumstances of these two buildings were highlighted in the Allegro report that was contracted by the administration. There were specific suggestions given because of the unique location of these properties. They were ignored by this administration. In the selection process, the county failed to consider the additional financial burden of rehabilitating historic properties to national and local landmark standards. The county archives will remain in the building, leasing from Welcome House for up to 2 years. You have an unusual fund of $50,000 for maintenance during this period. However, Welcome House has stated to the county at the same exact meeting they do not have resources for any major capital expenditure. What happens if a major emergency repair is necessary? Not all block clubs, that has been stated, around the archives have voted to approve the sale to Welcome House. In fact, block clubs contiguous to the properties have met, no votes were taken, but those members have expressed their concerns about the archives' future, the financial wherewithal of a nonprofit's ability to rehab these structures, as well as the poor community involvement process in the decision making. In the initial proposal to the county council and to the administration, Welcome House said that they would utilize Sanford House, the second and smaller of the mansions. As is stated now, they have no plans for Welcome House. There is real concern as to the future deterioration of this structure, and where will the funds come to fix it when there's no purpose for it? Thanks for your consideration. Please start over.
Thank you.
I assume that that's the signal to start.
Yes.
Kathleen Thomas.
Good afternoon, everyone. Councilwoman, it's good to see you. I agree with everything that both Ms. Oliver Lidgy and our former Councilwoman Helen Smith has had to say. I'd also like to emphasize just a few items here. And there are question marks in my mind. Some of these items are addressed in the application. The first is, why would county council members support Welcome House, a bidder that to date does not have financing in place, and its financing is tenuous? Why would the county council members support a bid that is $100,000 below the highest bidder, the Ferran Group? Why would you support a bidder whose architect has specifically stated to me and others that the Sanford House will not be rehabilitated due to the costs associated with it? A large part of Cleveland's success in recent years is due to the preservation of and restoration of its buildings. In addition, why would you support Welcome House when only one of the two block clubs contiguous to this property voted to support their bid? Why would you support Welcome House, who has not, in fact, been welcomed by our not-for-profit organization, our Near West Side organization, OCI? And in conclusion, I too want you to know that I am not against the kind of assistance that is provided in our neighborhood. In fact, I am proud of it. But I, for one, amongst many, would find peace in a plan that considers the entire community and its historic significance. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Mike Askren.
Good evening. Thank you. My name is Mike Askren, and I'm representing Kone Incorporated Elevators and Escalators in regards to our formal protest of requisition number 26522. Kone was low bidder by $35,712, or 2.1% annually. That equates to $107,136 over a 3-year contract term. Kone did not reject the terms and conditions stated within RQ number 26522. As proven by currently being actively contracted with Cuyahoga County, we're willing to accept the terms put forth by the county. Generally, requests for bids are solicited for products, goods, commodity-type purchases. In the case of RQ 26522, the bid is for a highly technical, highly skilled service that is performed by people who perform a job with a great deal of life safety at risk, both for themselves and the passengers of the elevators and escalators. Performance of this service is highly predicated on the experience of the technician as well as the corporate technical support available for that specific type of equipment. Kone has been the maintenance provider at the Justice Center for over 20 years. 48 of 53 elevators and escalators at the Justice Center were manufactured by Montgomery Kone. None of the equipment was manufactured by Schindler. The technician we have on site at the Justice Center full-time is a 20-plus year Montgomery Kone employee. This has great impact on the time it takes to return equipment that shuts down back into operation. Because of our extensive knowledge and experience with this equipment, we are often able to proactively identify and address potential problems before they occur. It has been noted that 3 qualified elevator companies bid on this requisition. In fact, only Kone has proven to be successful at maintaining the equipment here at the Justice Center. Additionally, the total cost of service and repairs has not been represented in this bid. When any of the 48 units Kone needs to repair, these parts will primarily need to be procured through Kone Spares, Kone's spare parts division. Anyone other than Kone will have to purchase through Kone for specific materials needed. There's also a risk that when a repair is needed, because the manufacturer is not performing the repair, it will be estimated to take longer, resulting in more downtime and increased labor cost. Even by proceeding with the award to Schindler, the county has achieved a cost savings versus what is being paid today. Kone contests that rather than this cost savings being a product of consolidation, it's a result of an ultra-competitive marketplace. I suggest further consideration be given to splitting up the award to realize an actual savings of $162,000 over the 3-year contract term, which is greatly more savings than what was realized through contract consolidation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Charles Bibb Sr.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President and County Council members. I want to thank County Councilman Jones and County Councilwoman Simon for setting up a meeting with the East Cleveland Public Library and the Euclid Public Library concerning the convention hotel project. Thanks again. I also want to thank County Councilman Julian Rogers for serving his district so well, and I look forward to him returning to elected politics soon. Thank you.
Be still my heart. You with that quote?
The final speaker is Kevin Hudson.
Good evening, Council. Thanks for giving me the opportunity. My name is Kevin Hudson with Staples. This is my third time appearing regarding the potential award to OfficeMax for office supplies. I've sent most of you emails about a week or so ago regarding our claim and our opportunity that you will allow this bid to be delayed and that this bid be a formal bid. At the November 20th Public Works Council meeting, there were a couple claims made that I sent you all emails on. It should have been handed out to you. There was a claim made by OfficeMax that we never sent the manufacturer's numbers as part of our original bid. In fact, we did do that on February 27, 2013. There was a claim made by Lenore Lockett, the OPD director, that the rebates were not considered as part of the bid. Staples, we did 4 Freedom of Information Act requests, and we were never sent the OfficeMax rebate data. There was another claim at the November 20th Public Works meeting that we were given grace regarding our submission. OfficeMax was giving grace back in 2011. Staples, there was another informal bid. They came in $40,000 less than Staples. We did a FOIA request. We looked at the data. It wasn't apples to apples. And before the bid even reached the council, their bid was thrown out. For this second time, this was an informal bid. There was a lot of gray areas. We did 4 FOIA requests, and we found there was proof that I sent to most of the council members. There was proof that there were inaccurate data, again, on behalf of OfficeMax. As a Cuyahoga County taxpayer, and just given all the things that we've seen that has happened throughout the county, why would an award be given to OfficeMax when there is clear evidence that the data was not apples to apples? It's facts. I've sent it to you. It's proven. We request that a formal bid at the last Public Works meeting. There was by one of the council members said that because there's been so much gray area, part of it is because this was an informal bid with no real requirements or rules or criterias. This is a $2.3 million bid. I think this should just be bid out to be more formal with clear instructions, clear definitions, clear requirements. We just ask that this be delayed and let it be something formal that is more black and white and is not gray, which will minimize all the going back and forth. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, we have an additional speaker, Nora McNamara, who just signed in to speak.
Madam Chair and council persons, I appreciate this opportunity, and I'll make my remarks brief. I was here as a interested party in the county archives property. I have served as a planner for the city of Cleveland in the Ohio City area for 30 years. So I'm very familiar with that property, both in function and in its importance to that community. I also am now functioning as an independent consultant and would like to express my concerns about the sale of that property at this time when there is no concrete plan for the relocation of the archives documents and access to the documents. I think these are critical. I don't see the urgency in making a decision at this time. As far as I'm aware, correct me if I'm wrong, the two proposers do not have firm funding commitments. And in fact, I think one of them was able to go forward to obtain zoning variances when they don't have control of the property. I don't know how that happened, whether or not there was somebody, I was not in attendance at the hearing, but if the county authorized them to be able to do that, I would think there would have had been some action, something in writing which would have authorized that, some representation from the county to go forward that way. What I'm asking for basically is more thoughtful consideration regarding the property and the documents. And I'm asking that you, at this time, table this action and that it allow for more discussion, work with some of the historic preservation organizations, with some of the other planning entities, as well as, once again, taking a look at the appropriate use and that's not to comment on either proposer, but the appropriate use of that property within that particular context. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anyone else?
No, Madam Chair, no one else.
Item 6, approval of the minutes from the November 7th Committee of the Whole, the November 12th Committee of the Whole, the November 12th regular meeting, the minutes from November 14th Committee of the Whole, and the minutes for November 19th Committee of the Whole are all included in your package. If you had an opportunity to review those minutes, we'll entertain a motion to adopt them as circulated. Moved by Mr. Brady and seconded by Mr. Gallagher. Any discussion on those minutes? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. The minutes are adopted. Item 13 on the agenda will be at the end after item 19 because we have to have an executive session. I'd like to thank everyone for participating in the Giving Tree program this year. As a reminder, please bring all your gifts wrapped with holiday wish tags attached to council offices, which are now located at 323 West Lakeside Avenue, room 400, so that we have them before the council meeting on the 10th. Also, I think there's one tag left, and so we hope that someone will take that one tag and help to fulfill the child's wish for Christmas or the holidays. And just finally, I wanted to thank Mr. Miller again. I thanked him at the committee meeting, but he's worked quite diligently. And we're halfway through the budget, and we will have our next session on December the 3rd. And we've all given Mr. Miller an admonition that he can't send out any emails on the budget on Thanksgiving Day, that he has to take a vacation day on that day. Okay, that's all of my remarks. And Mr. Fitzgerald, do you have any comments or remarks?
Yes, ma'am. First, I would echo what you just said about Councilman Miller and the whole budgetary process. I give great credit to council for all the hard work that you're doing in arriving at an appropriate expenditure level. A couple other things I want to just mention quickly. One was we had a town hall meeting yesterday in Euclid. Just wanted to thank Councilwoman Simon and the City of Euclid, Mayor Cervenik, for hosting us there. We'll be scheduling another one in the next couple months, and I'll let council know when that is set. Next, and then finally, I just did want to make a note about the heroin summit that was held a few days ago at the Cleveland Clinic, which we co-hosted along with Dr. Cosgrove, the folks at the Cleveland Clinic, and also U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Ohio, Steve Dettelbach. And I thought we had the appropriate players there because law enforcement was represented, but there was also an understanding that it's not strictly a law enforcement problem. We're not going to be able to just prosecute or incarcerate our way out of the heroin problem. The medical folks were there because it is a public health emergency. And county government was there as well because we can play a role, whether it's through the Board of Health or through our human services agencies or through some of our other departments. And I just want to underline, I think we're going to have to, unfortunately, continue to have this dialogue. It really is reaching epidemic proportions. There's a video, I believe there's a DVD of the presentation, and if council would like, we can get copies of it. It is really worth seeing. All the experts in the field were there from all of those different disciplines, and just it's something that we've got to increase the amount of public discussion that's going on about this. The fact that everybody from kids in high school on up, that the levels of experimentation are going up with heroin is having absolutely tragic consequences. One of the parts of my job that is probably the most negative part is that I will get a notification from the medical examiner's office when I have asked for notification when there's a death resulting from a heroin overdose. And during that weekend, the last weekend, originally there were 6 suspected heroin deaths just in one weekend in Cuyahoga County. Now, eventually they identified it as 4. But if you just think about it, as much as I might not have liked the getting that notification, think about all those families that got that notification. We're on pace to be at 200 deaths in Cuyahoga County due to heroin overdoses. It's more than will die from automobile accidents. And when you think of everything we do and all the communication that we do to try to prevent automobile accidents and just compare it to the level of dialogue that right now is happening with heroin, I would just invite the council to join with us in being creative about how we can get the word out as much as we possibly can. It is not a urban problem. Half of the deaths were in urban areas in Cuyahoga County, and half were in suburban areas. So there's not a single council member here who represents a district that has not been touched by heroin overdoses. Again, it was a sad event in many ways that we had to have it, but we are starting to put together what I hope is going to be an effective alliance between all those different parts of our society that will be necessary to start pulling in the same direction to try to address this. And I would just, I would invite the council to participate with us as we figure out creative ways to address this problem. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Fitzgerald. Item 9, consideration of resolutions of council for first reading and referral to committee. We have, I believe it is A through G, that are all going to environmental, education, environmental, and sustainability committee, and they're quite lengthy. And so in order to save Ms. Schmatzer's vocal cords so that she can speak with her family on Thanksgiving, we're going to ask that we have a motion for pursuant to Room 9C to waive the reading of the full title and permit the reading by brief title on items 0260 to 0269.
So moved. Second.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. All right, Ms. Schmatzer, you're on.
Madam Chair, so I can go through all of these, would you want to give the referral now for those items?
Yeah, all of these items will be referred to the Education, Environment, and Sustainability Committee.
Okay, great. I will read into the record the full title for the very first one, and then everything else is basically the same in the rest, except for the organization and the project, and that's how I'll proceed through the rest of them. Resolution number 2013-0260, a resolution of support of an application for funding under the Clean Ohio Fund Green Space Conservation Program, available through the Ohio Public Works Commission on behalf of the Gates Mills Land Conservancy for the conservation of ecologically significant areas along the Chagrin River watershed and North Chagrin Reservation, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective. Resolution number 2013-0261, a resolution in support of an application on behalf of West Creek Conservancy for conservation of areas along the Cuyahoga River. Resolution number 2013-0262, a resolution in support of an application on behalf of the Western Reserve Land Conservancy for conservation of areas along the Chagrin River. Resolution number 2013-0263, a resolution in support of an application on behalf of the West Creek Conservancy for conservation of areas along the headwaters of Big Creek. Resolution number 2013-0264. It's a resolution in support of an application on behalf of the Western Reserve Land Conservancy for conservation of areas along the lower Big Creek. Resolution number 2013-0265, a resolution in support of an application on behalf of the West Creek Conservancy for conservation of areas along the Bradley Woods Reservation. Resolution number 0266, a resolution in support of an application on behalf of the Cuyahoga Soil and Water Conservation District for conservation of areas along the East Branch of Euclid Creek. Resolution number 2013-0267, a resolution in support of an application on behalf of the City of Euclid for conservation of areas along the Green Creek and Euclid Creek Metro Park Reservation. Resolution number 2013-0268, a resolution of support of an application on behalf of the Western Reserve Land Conservancy for conservation of areas along the Dunham Tavern Museum. And resolution number 2013-0269, a resolution in support of an application on behalf of Land Studio Incorporated for conservation of areas along the Irishtown Overlook.
All right, thank you. And as you stated, all those will go to economic, environment, education, sustainability. I can never get that straight. All right, item 10, committee reports and consideration of a resolution of council for second reading adoption under suspension of the rules. This matter has been to committee, so we need a motion to suspend Rule 9D to waive the third reading.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Gallagher and seconded by Mr. Jemana. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Madam Clerk, will you read the item?
Resolution number 2013-0241, a resolution approving the Metro Health System's policies and procedures to participate in one or more joint purchasing associations for the purpose of acquiring supplies, equipment, and services provided through joint purchasing arrangements in order to achieve beneficial purchasing arrangements for the year 2014, in accordance with Ohio Revised Code Section 339.05, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Jones and seconded by Mr. Rogers. This matter has been to committee and it's been to Public Works. Did you have anything to say, Mr. Jones?
Madam President, this resolution approves Metro Health's policies and procedures for participating in a joint purchasing agreement. In other words, purchasing in bulk. We see this annually. We've had discussions around whether it could be done. We would not have to do it annually, but it is an Ohio Revised Code requirement. So we will continue to do this annually. And I ask for support of this legislation from my colleagues.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Any other questions or comments? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Item 11, committee reports and consideration of an ordinance of council for second reading adoption under suspension of the rules. We need a motion to suspend Rule 9D.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Gallagher and seconded by Mr. Jemana. Any discussion on suspending the rules? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Madam Clerk.
Ordinance number 2013-0022, an ordinance establishing a Cuyahoga County Monument Commission and declaring the necessity that this ordinance become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Moved by Mr. Jones and seconded by Mr. Schron. This has been, my project for going on for a year, and I'm very pleased that we are finally having a vote on this. I believe there's some urgency because I know Ms. T1's here, and there's a couple of matters that will be coming up. But the important thing is that this will provide an orderly process where decisions can be made about public monuments, so that decisions can be made by informed people as to where to put them, what to put them, what kind of monuments we have. So we actually modeled this after an ordinance in Savannah, Georgia that has a lot of outside statuary. So I'm very pleased with this, and I think this will provide a meaningful process so that the county can proceed, particularly in light of our new buildings. Any other questions or comments? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it, and I'd like to thank Joanne Gross, who put a lot of work into this during the process. Item 12, consideration of a resolution for first reading adoption under suspension of the rules. This is our amendment to the biennial budget, so we need to suspend Rule 9D and 12A.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Gallagher and seconded by Mr. Janana. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. The rules are suspended.
Resolution number 2013-0270, a resolution amending the 2012-2013 biennial operating budget for 2013 by providing for additional fiscal appropriations from the general fund and other funding sources, for appropriation transfers between budget accounts and for cash transfers between budgetary funds in order to meet the budgetary needs of various county departments, offices, and agencies, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Mr. Miller and seconded by Mr. Gallagher. I believe there's an amendment, Mr. Miller.
Madam President, and my colleagues, this resolution is long and complex, and I asked a number of questions about it, to which the Director Rubino provided answers, and a copy of the answers has been printed and distributed, so everyone has that on their desk. Also, there are two proposed amendments, and that came in from Budget and Management, and I would like to move to adopt both amendments, and those are on your desk.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Miller and seconded by Mr. Gallagher to amend the motion. So do we have any other discussions on these amendments?
Just to briefly comment on the amendments are that the amount of the subsidy for the county airport needed to be adjusted and increased based on the latest estimate of what that subsidy is. However, it's still several $100,000 less than what was budgeted. And also the amount of the transfer for the family and children first subsidy was amended and reduced because one item for $380,000 had already been included elsewhere and did not need to be included here. So I'd ask for approval of the amendments.
All right, any other questions on the amendments? All right, all those in favor of the amendments indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. The resolution is so amended. So do we have anything else on the merits? This is a very long resolution.
Madam President, to my colleagues, I'm just going to give a quick summary on some of the big items that are included here. First, there's $550,000 funded from the Enterprise Reserve for the first part of the planning process for the enterprise-wide justice system IT program. This is something that Councilman Gallagher has been talking about in his committee. It's a very important IT project. Also, there's $46,000 for the heroin overdose program. This is 2013 funding, and this is intended to be an ongoing budget item, and there's also a proposal that the administration submitted to include the same item in the 2014 to 15 budget. Also, several subsidies needed to be included and increased in the justice area. The Alternatives to Street Crime Program in Common Pleas, $534,000 due to a negative balance from last year. The Regional Crime Lab, $866,000 due to lack of revenues for services provided. Custody mediation, $185,000 due to space charges at the Juvenile Justice Center. And emergency management, $53,000 due to reduced revenues. In Common Pleas Court, there's a realignment of $608,000 within the court's budget to cover personnel expenses. And in addition, there's regular annual debt service payments and levy allocations, and also a number of adjustments to levy subsidies were made. But the overall impact was positive in that the reductions to draws on the levy fund exceeded the increases. It was something like $9 million of reductions and $8 million of increases. So those are the highlights, and I recommend approval.
All right, thank you. All right, any other questions or discussions? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Item 13 will go to the end of the agenda, so we'll move to item 14. Committee consideration of resolutions for first reading and referral to committee. These also are all road projects that will be going to Public Works. And once again, we're going to ask for a motion pursuant to Rule 9D, or 9C rather, to have just a short reading of the title rather than reading all of these because it's fairly extensive.
So moved. Second.
All right. Been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. All right, Ms. Schmeitzer, we're saving your throat again.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Resolution number 2013-0272, a resolution declaring that public convenience and welfare requires resurfacing of Barr Road from Edgerton Road to Highland Drive in the city of Brecksville. Total estimated project cost $84,850. And for all of these items, 0272 through 0280, will all read finding that special assessments will neither be levied nor collected to pay for any part of the county's cost of said improvement, authorizing the county executive to enter into an agreement of cooperation with said municipality in connection with said project, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective. Resolution number 2013-0273, declaring that public convenience and welfare requires resurfacing of Biddulph Road from Cleveland West Corporation Line to Pearl Road in the city of Cleveland. Total estimated project cost $750,000. Resolution number 2013-0274, declaring that public convenience and welfare requires resurfacing of East 250th Street from Lakeland Boulevard to Lakeshore Boulevard in the city of Euclid. Total estimated project cost $2 million. Resolution number 2013-0275, declaring that public convenience and welfare requires resurfacing and some streetscape of Huron Road from Prospect Avenue to Euclid Avenue in the city of Cleveland. Total estimated project cost $450,000. Resolution number 2013-0276, declaring that public convenience and welfare requires resurfacing of Munn Road from Rocky River Drive to Warren Road in the city of Cleveland. Total estimated project cost $550,000. Resolution number 2013-0277, declaring that public convenience and welfare requires resurfacing of Noble Road from Euclid Avenue to 100 150 feet northwest of Railroad Bridge in the city of East Cleveland. Total estimated project cost $200,000. Resolution number 2013-0278, declaring that public convenience and welfare requires resurfacing of Snowville Road from Brecksville Road to Riverview Road in the city of Brecksville. Total estimated project cost $851,495. Resolution number 2013-0279, declaring that public convenience and welfare requires resurfacing of West 73rd Street from Dennison Avenue to Lorraine Road in the city of Cleveland. Total estimated project cost $900,000. And resolution number 2013-0280, declaring that public convenience and welfare requires resurfacing of Wood Hill Road from Quincy Avenue to Kinsman Road in the city of Cleveland. Total estimated project cost $2,800,000.
All right, and so then we need, all of those will go to Public Works. So now,
Madam President?
yes,
Would you please add my name to 2013-0276?
okay.
Madam President, can you add my name to 0277 as well as 0281?
Okay, did you get those, Gene?
That's what we're good. This is the way it's going to be.
We were supposed to be saving time with the reading now, right?
Please add my name to 0273 and 0279.
Madam President and Clerk.
Wait a minute, please.
Wait, slow down.
Brady is
State the obvious.
0273 and
And 0279.
279. And Ms. Simon?
7-4.
And to recap with Mr. Rogers, you wanted to be added to 0277 and 0281 that I haven't read in the record?
281.
Okay.
You got my list, correct?
Yes, Ms. Conwell, I have your list, and I have added you in this section to 0275.
Now, are we at J?
And Gene, since it's coming to my committee, why don't you add my name to all of them?
Or just 81.
Ms. Simon, 0281. Anyone else?
Okay, now, we are at 0281, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
All right, resolution number 2013-0281, a resolution making an award on requisition number 28451 to Perk Company Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $3,614,496.62 for resurfacing Belvoir Boulevard from Fairmount Boulevard to Mayfield Road in the cities of Shaker Heights, South Euclid, and University Heights, authorizing the county executive to execute the contract and all other documents consistent with said award and this resolution, authorizing the county engineer on behalf of the county executive to make an application for allocation from county motor vehicle $5 license tax funds in the amount of $722,899.33 to fund said contract and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
This matter goes to Public Works.
Resolution number 2013-0282, a resolution authorizing amendments to agreements and contracts with various providers for Workforce Investment Act in-school and out-of-school youth training for the period September 1, 2011 through June 30, 2013, to extend the time period to June 30, 2014, and for additional funds, authorizing the county executive to execute the amendments and all other documents consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective for the agreement's contract numbers, providers, and amounts as printed on the agenda, items 14K 1 through 9.
This goes to Education, Environment, and Sustainability.
Resolution number 2013-0283, a resolution authorizing amendments to various agreements with East Cleveland City School District for universal pre-kindergarten services for the period August 31, 2012 through July 31, 2013, to extend the time period to July 31, 2014, and for additional funds, authorizing the county executive to execute the amendments and all other documents consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective for the agreements and the providers, and in the amounts not to exceed as printed on the agenda, items 14L 1 and 2.
This goes to Education, Environment, and Sustainability.
Resolution number 2013-0284, resolution authorizing amendments to various contracts with Guidestone for universal pre-kindergarten services for the period August 1, 2012 through July 31, 2013, to extend the time period to July 31, 2014, and for additional funds, authorizing the county executive to execute the amendments and all other documents consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective for the contract numbers, the providers, and in the amounts not to exceed as printed on the agenda, items 14M 1 through 5.
This goes to Education, Environment, and Sustainability. Item 15, committee reports and consideration of resolutions for second reading under suspension of the rules. These matters have all been to committee, and we need a motion to suspend Rule 9D, which would waive the third reading. Moved by Mr. Gallagher and seconded by Mr. Germano. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. The rule is suspended.
Resolution number 2013-0227, a resolution amending the 2012-2013 biennial operating budget for 2013 by providing for additional fiscal appropriations from the general fund and other funding sources, for appropriation transfers between budget accounts, and for cash transfers between budgetary funds in order to meet the budgetary needs of various county departments, offices, and agencies related to year-end closeout activities, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
To adopt.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Miller and seconded by Mr. Germana. Do you want to be heard on this, Mr. Miller?
Yes, Madam President and my colleagues, this annual resolution for year-end closeouts is the one case where we allow the administration to make budget adjustments without prior approval of the individual items, subject to dollar amount limits set in the resolution. We also require that OBM send us a weekly report on adjustments made, and that a resolution be submitted in late January to use to retrospectively confirm the changes. The terms and conditions are exactly the same as last year's resolution, and the administration has been timely and diligent with the weekly reports in each of the last 2 years. I recommend approval.
All right, any other questions? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Resolution number 2013-0243, a resolution amending resolution number 2013-0200, dated September 24, 2013, which accepted the rates as determined by the Budget Commission and which authorized the necessary tax levies and certified them to the county fiscal officer, to change the Health and Human Services outside millage from 2.90 to 3.90, and to change the total outside millage from 14.10 to 15.10, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
To adopt.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Miller and seconded by Mr. Gallagher. Any discussion on this item?
Madam President, this resolution simply fulfills a state requirement to update these rates reflecting the recent passage of the Health and Human Services levy.
All right, thank you, Mr. Miller. Any questions? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Resolution number 2013-0245, a resolution authorizing a cooperative agreement among the county, City of Cleveland, and Cleveland-Cuyahoga County Port Authority relating to certain cooperative arrangements in connection with development of the county's Convention Center Hotel and other cooperative activities, authorizing the conveyance of real property, authorizing and approving related matters, authorizing the county executive to execute the agreement and all other documents consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Sharon and seconded by Mr. Miller. Any discussion on this item? This is the agreement that we've worked out with between the city and the Port Authority, and it's one of our major steps in moving forward for the convention hotel. So this is a very, very important item. We've spent a good deal of time on it, and we look forward to just one more step in the process to getting that hotel built. All right, any other questions, discussions? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Yes. I got to get Jeff Applebaum. I went to Dallas over the weekend, and there was like this really cool building with lights on the outside. So I think that we should put like a lot of lights on the outside of the hotel because it looked really great. But probably an extra few $1 million, but you know, whatever.
Resolution number 2013-0246, a resolution making an award on requisition number 23733 to Michael Baker Jr. Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $685,895 for design engineering services for the Towpath Trail Stage 4 from Tremont Literary Trailhead to Canal Basin Park in Cuyahoga County for the period December 2nd, 2013 through December 31, 2015. Authorizing the county executive to execute the contract and all other documents consistent with said award and this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt. Second.
Who said first? Was that
Germana?
Germana? And who seconded? Mr. Jones? Okay. Did you want to be heard, Mr. Jones? Or did...
Unless Councilman, Madam President, the primary goal of this contract is to design the fourth stage of the Towpath Trail. The stage will be completed in 2015, and I ask my colleagues to support this legislation.
Okay, any other questions? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Congratulations, our Towpath project is really a wonderful project.
Resolution number 2013-0247, a resolution making an award on requisition number 28696 to the Safety Company, doing business as MTech Company, in the amount not to exceed $1,650,000 for sewer inspection equipment, parts, supplies, and services for the period October 1, 2013 through September 30, 2018. Authorizing the county executive to execute the contract and all other documents consistent with said award and this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Moved by Mr. Jones and seconded by Mr. Germana. Did you want to be heard, Mr. Jones?
And Madam President, this award is for purchasing of sanitary equipment. And basically what we have are video cameras that go into the sewers. They check for collapses and joints that are displaced. The equipment is highly technical, but this award allows us to buy in a timely manner. It's also another example of shared services that communities really find attractive because they don't have to give up any independence. And again, just another shining example of our county efforts to help our communities. And I ask my colleagues to support this.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Anyone else?
Please add my name.
And Mr. Germana's name? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Resolution number 2013-0248, a resolution making an award on requisition number 26522 to Schindler Elevator Corporation in the amount not to exceed $1,900,000 for elevator maintenance and repair services for various county facilities for the period December 1, 2013 through November 30, 2016, authorizing the county executive to execute the contract and all other documents consistent with said award in this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Moved by Mr. Jones and seconded by Ms. Conwell. Mr. Jones?
Again, Schindler Elevator is being recommended for award by the administration. They have followed their due diligence, and I ask for my colleagues to support this legislation.
All right, any other comments?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you know, generally I'm in great support of Public Works when they have consolidation on different aspects of bidding. But in some cases, aggregating contracts is not necessarily the best way to get the lowest and best bid. In particular, on this particular resolution, when this was bid, there was groups A through F, and we had 3 responsive bidders that had bid. Now, it is true that aggregating this, because of the competitive nature of this contract, there is a lower price than what we've been paying. As heard by Mr. Can't remember his name, but the member from Kone Elevator, if we would have allowed the separation, I mean, these are all qualified elevator companies, but some of these companies are familiar with the equipment, and if we could have had them bid individually and award these based on what they're familiar with and what their lowest price would be, I think it would make more sense. The other thing is, we have already had these things grouped by A through F. It could have easily been, if they would have won the bid on every one of these areas, it would have been there'd be no question it's the lowest and best bid. I think on certain contracts where you have people familiar with the equipment, I know if I had businesses with 5, 6, 7 different locations and with equipment that might be better served by people that are manufacturer reps that know the equipment, especially in the case of elevators, escalators. I think we would have been better served if we would have broke that up. And that's why in committee I voted no, and I intend to vote no today.
Madam Chair? I sit on that committee as well, and what I heard from the committee was that we're going to save a lot of money by consolidating. And further, in the past, we've had different contracts for different elevators in different buildings, and that doesn't make any sense at all. So I support this consolidation because it's absolutely going to save us money and streamline who our contracts are with.
All right, any other comments?
And Madam President, there's also a 5% SBE goal. So money has been saved, and small businesses will have an opportunity to participate in this contract as well.
All right, if there's no other comments, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, so mark Mr. Jimenez as a no. All right, item 0249.
Resolution number 2013-0249, a resolution authorizing an amendment to a revenue-generating memorandum of agreement with City of Mayfield Heights for maintenance and repair of sewerage systems located in County Sewer District Number 3 to change the scope of services effective November 12, 2013, authorizing the county executive to execute the amendment and all other documents consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to it.
I moved by Mr. Jones and seconded by Mr. Schron. Any comments on this item?
Madam President, this memorandum of agreement, the residents of this community pay a charge of $2.50 for maintenance of their sewers. The city would like to adjust these fees for storm maintenance as opposed to sewer maintenance. The fees to the residents will not change. And again, another example of shared services and providing a menu of services to our communities, this community in particular. And I ask my colleagues to support this.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Any other comments? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Resolution number 2013-0250, a resolution authorizing a revenue-generating utility agreement with City of Beechwood for maintenance and repair of storm sewers, sanitary sewers, and water lines located in County Sewer District Numbers 3 and 5, authorizing the county executive to execute the agreement and all other documents consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Moved by Mr. Jones and seconded by Ms. Conwell.
Madam President, again, another revenue-generating agreement for stormwater maintenance. This is for Beechwood. One note, 13 out of 33 communities have signed for stormwater maintenance. And again, I ask my colleagues to support this.
All right, any other comments? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Resolution number 2013-0251, a resolution authorizing a cooperative agreement with Olmsted Township in the amount of $5 million for preventative and routine maintenance of 22 miles of county roads and various structures for the period October 22, 2013 through December 31, 2023. Authorizing the county executive to execute the agreement and all other documents consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Jones and seconded by Mr. Gallagher.
And Madam President, this is a cooperative agreement with Olmsted Township. The county has looked at what we've spent on our responsibilities in this township from the very beginning. Now, the township has always been interested in taking over responsibility for maintenance of these 22 miles. Olmsted is capable of doing this even more efficiently themselves, and they've sought to purchase our facility in Fitzyard building. The county will save $500,000 conservatively by letting the township handle the maintenance. We may have trustees here today, but the trustees have signed an agreement and they are on board. So I ask my colleagues to support this legislation.
All right, any other questions or comments? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Resolution number 2013-0252, a resolution making a revenue-generating award on requisition number 24534 to Olmsted Township Board of Trustees in the amount of $210,000 for the lease with option to purchase Fitch Road Yard, located at 7924 Fitch Road, Olmsted Township, authorizing the county executive to take all necessary actions and to execute all documents necessary to consummate the contemplated transaction, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Jones and seconded by Mr. Gallagher.
And Madam President, there were two bidders for this, a private contractor and the township. The township was rated the highest. There is a clause between the county and the Olmsted Township that if either party determines this doesn't work, they have an out. And I ask my colleagues for support of this passage, for this legislation.
Any other comments? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it.
Resolution number 2013-0253, a resolution making an award on requisition number 27498 to Office Max North America Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $2,300,000 for furnishing and delivering office supplies to various county departments for the period December 1, 2013 through November 30, 2015, authorizing the county executive to execute the contract and all other documents consistent with said award and this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Jones, and who seconded? Mr. Rogers?
Madam President, the administration again is asking for award for Office to Office Max. They have done their due diligence. Just as one note, with this contract, we are piggybacking off of a governmental political subdivision, and not basing typically on price. So I do ask for my colleagues for support of this legislation as well.
Any comments or questions? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it.
Resolution number 2013-0254, a resolution authorizing an amendment to contract number CE 1200-211 with United Way of Greater Cleveland for emergency food purchase and distribution to Cuyahoga County hunger centers and food pantries serving residents in need for the period April 1, 2012 through December 31, 2013, to extend the time period to December 31, 2014, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $1,095,450, authorizing the county executive to execute the amendment and all other documents consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move approval.
Moved by Mr. Brady and seconded by Mr. Jimana. Did you want to be heard on this, Mr. Brady?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairperson. This contract is funded with 100% of Health and Human Service levy funds. It represents an important use of those county funds. United Way administers the funding that supports about 34 hunger network and other food pantries. While the $1 million is a lot of money, it doesn't come close to addressing the needs of those who are hungry in this community, which are increasingly spreading into the suburban areas of Cuyahoga County. We had a very informative Health and Human Services meeting last week to take a look at those needs with representatives of the Food Bank, the Hunger Network, and the United Way, all expressing concern over the impact of the reduction in food stamps and the potential removal of some 29,000 people from the food stamp rolls in Cuyahoga County. We're going to continue to pay close attention to this issue, and I'd ask my colleagues for their support on this particular contract.
All right, any other comments or questions?
President? Just briefly, what we're seeing now, that there's lines at the beginning of the month rather than at the end, and that's just the beginning. So I support this, and it's something we're going to have to get ourselves through.
And Mr. Jimana, you can add my name also.
You can add my name.
And mine as well.
Yeah.
Everybody. Oh, did we vote? We voted. Oh, okay. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Resolution number 2013-0255, a resolution authorizing amendments to an agreement and contracts with various providers for universal pre-kindergarten services to extend the time period to July 31, 2014, and for additional funds, authorizing the county executive to execute the amendments and all other documents consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective for all of the time periods, agreements, contracts, providers, and in the amounts as printed on the agenda, items 15M, 1 and 2.
Move to adopt.
Second.
All right, moved by Ms. Simon and seconded by, was that Mr. Brady? All right, any discussions on these items?
President, I can speak to this as being a member of the committee. This is simply an adjustment to enable extend the contract and to adjust some of the funds. It initially was an estimate of what was needed for each provider, each vendor, and now this is being able to hone in on what's needed.
Okay. All right, any other questions, discussion? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. These are all just good.
One recusal.
Sorry, that's right, you told me before. Okay. Yeah, these are wonderful programs. This is part of the county's missions to provide these kind of services to the community and to make sure that these are taken care of. All right, 0256.
Resolution number 2013-0256, a resolution making a Cuyahoga County 911 Consolidation Shared Services Fund Award to City of Bedford Heights on behalf of Southeast Council of Governments in the amount not to exceed $1,160,000 for public safety answering point consolidation support for the period November 1, 2013 through December 31, 2014, authorizing the county executive to execute the agreement and all other documents consistent with said award and this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Moved by Mr. Gallagher and seconded by Mr. Germana. Do you want to be heard, Mr. Gallagher?
Madam President, this is an actual real justification for this government. This is a long overdue and a very, very tough fought consolidation of dispatch centers. And the individuals most responsible are our friends out in Bedford Heights that led the way. And when we came on to council, the committee worked diligently, and I would be remiss to leave Mr. Miller out, who never misses a committee meeting and has gone to our on-site visits with all the police chiefs and fire chiefs to make this possible. And this is our second such award for support in physical and technical infrastructure, professional services, equipment, and upgrades that are needed to support this consolidation. Mr. Cologne, I again would be remiss not to mention him and his folks who have pushed this forward. But I was wondering, Chiefs, did you want to introduce yourselves this evening? I know the reason that they're here is I don't think anybody really believes this is going to happen until we vote on this. And I don't blame them, because so many times they were left at the altar, and this is the actual I do. So if you'd want to.
I'm not sure about that analogy.
But, you know, after this, they may kiss, you know, this bride anyhow.
Good evening. My name is Ken Ledford. I'm the fire chief in the city of Bedford Heights, and I'm just one of the team members that's made this happen, and it's Chief John Dursick.
John Dursick with Maple Heights, and it has been a long time in coming. The previous chief tried to get this going back in the 1990s along with Chief Ledford, and it's good to see it come to fruition.
Well, you should be proud of all of your efforts, because we use and hold you up on a pedestal as the way it should go and the way it should work. And you're the most progressive group out there, and you deserve all the credit. If it weren't for you, I don't think we'd be here with the other groups, and I appreciate all your efforts. And
Thank you again. I'd just like to say, like I said, it is a team effort to get all those mayors and councils and fire chiefs and police chiefs to agree to this is something amazing that's never been done before.
Tell me about it. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I would ask for council support of this. This is really something everybody can hold up high in their districts. It affects everybody, touches everybody, and it was one of the missions of this council going forward. And Mr. Cologne, I certainly appreciate your help through the administration. I know Mr. Fitzgerald was a flag bearer on this also.
I think Mr. Shrine wanted to be heard.
The only comment would be that I applaud this, but for it to say the most, boy, the Chagrin Valley one was a couple of weeks ago.
No, they were first. They weren't the most progressive.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
I ran into the mayor of Bedford Heights last Friday, and he was asking if I was supportive, and I let him know I was certainly in support, and it's good to see my chief in Maple Heights here, and I'd like to just acknowledge Council President of Maple Heights, Jackie Albers, who has been a strong advocate, and I look forward to supporting this, and I'd like to have my name added as well.
All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. All right, 0257.
Resolution number 2013-0257, a resolution authorizing an agreement with City of Brecksville in the amount of $10 for lease of radio tower space located at 4450 Oaks Road, Brecksville, for the period July 1, 2013 through June 30, 2023, authorizing the county executive to execute the agreement and all other documents consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Moved by Mr. Gallagher and seconded by Mr. Germana.
Madam President, this is a 10-year agreement, $1 a year for space on the City of Brecksville's tower so we can maintain our equipment.
All right, any other questions or comments? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Resolution number 2013-0258, a resolution making awards on requisition number 27261 to various providers in the total amount not to exceed $1,015,000 for diagnostic clinic psychologist and psychometrist services for the period January 1, 2014 through December 31, 2015, authorizing the county executive to execute the master contract and all other documents consistent with said awards and this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective for the providers and in the initial amounts as printed on the agenda, items 15P 1 through 14.
Move to second.
I moved by Mr. Schron and seconded by Mr. Gallagher. Do you want to hear it on this, Mr.?
It was in our committee. It's self-explanatory.
Okay. All right. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. 0259.
Resolution number 2013-0259, a resolution authorizing a contract with Oriana House Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $1,065,600 for day programming services in connection with fiscal year 2014 Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction Community Corrections Act Probation Improvement and Incentive Grant Program for the period October 1, 2013 through June 30, 2015, authorizing the county executive to execute the contract and all other documents consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Moved by Mr. Gallagher and seconded by Ms. Conwell.
Madam President?
Yes.
This was heard also in the Safety Committee, and what I find exciting of this is this project has actual goals that are spelled out, and one of them, or all of them, are to reduce the number of people going to prison by 189, to reduce the number of people going to jail by 72, and to reduce the number of probation violation hearings for non-compliant offenders. If the goals are attained, the dollars spent will be minuscule compared to what would have cost. So this is a great program that actually spells out what it's going to do, and we'll be able to see exactly how successful it is, and we have great confidence that they'll come back saving the taxpayers of Cuyahoga County a substantial amount of money while helping out those offenders avoid further problems.
All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. And please mark me as being recused.
And Madam President, if you would add my name to this resolution.
Item 16, committee reports and consideration of a resolution for third reading adoption.
Resolution number 2013-0169, a resolution making an award on requisition number 24534 to Welcome House Incorporated in the amount of $650,000 for sale of the County Archives building, authorizing a lease for said building in the amount not to exceed $24 for a period up to 24 months, commencing on the closing date of said sale, authorizing the county executive to take all necessary actions and to execute all documents necessary to consummate the contemplated transactions, and authorizing the Director of Public Works to administer the project, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Conwell and seconded by Mr. Rogers. I understand that some people signed in to comment, but this meeting was posted to start at 5 o'clock, and you weren't here at 5 o'clock. So if you'd like to speak after the item, but we are ready to move forward.
Madam Chair, can I speak?
Well, yes.
Yes, this item has been a contentious issue among Ohio City residents and great concern among County Council. But I believe both parties agree that the primary issue that caused concern was the current and future placement of our historical documents. So I ask my colleagues to support this resolution because I believe this amended agreement allows time for the documents to be provided the best home and move forward with the sale of the archives building.
Madam Chairperson. I live on the west side. I live not far from this area. I've listened to this debate, and these neighborhood issues, having been a former Cleveland City Councilman myself, become really tough issues where people that live in the neighborhood disagree with each other. and they're not an easy call. I know from what I've heard that there are people of very good will on both sides of this issue, and I think that both sides have presented very compelling arguments. After listening to everyone, and also importantly for me, taking into consideration the viewpoint of the incumbent councilperson, with all due respect to the former councilperson who was a friend of mine, I will be voting for this.
And I think I had mentioned a number of times, and I've voiced my concern about the historical documents, but I've worked with T1, and we're in the process of working out a long-range plan for all of the documents for the county, which I feel is vital to maintaining the history of this county. So that part of the process is I'm satisfied with, and we have the 24-month to work that process out. All right. Madam Clerk, is there any other question, discussions? All right, Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Calling the roll for Resolution 2013-0169. Mr. Gallagher? Yes. Mr. Schron?
No.
Ms. Conwell? Yes. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Ms. Simon? Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Brady?
Yes.
Mr. Germana?
Yes.
And Ms. Conley? Yes. Motion carries.
All right, do we have any miscellaneous committee reports? I will note that on December 10th is our last meeting of the year, barring some unforeseen special meeting, and we will have our ethics training on that meeting on December the 10th. Is the ethics training at what time?
It's not determined quite yet until we finalize other
Okay, but it may be
presentations
4 or something like
yes,
that.
but
Okay.
it will be for all council members.
Okay, and then we have a committee of the whole to finish off our budget on next Tuesday at 11. And anyone else have any miscellaneous committee reports?
Oh, no.
Well, you have a meeting on the 4th, and we're still negotiating the time, is that right?
December 4th, I think. We're set for noon on December 4th for education, environment, sustainability. Thanks.
Anything else? All right,
Public Works Committee will meet 8 days from today to deal with the items referred to committee today. With a date, that's December 4th. December 4th.
Now, we have,
Yeah.
we're going to have an executive session, but is there anyone signed in for public comment unrelated to the agenda? Because we can hear them now rather than having them wait till after the after the executive session.
Yes, Madam Chair. Several people have signed in to speak. Judy Cano Hart.
All right, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you for this opportunity. I'm sorry that I didn't get to speak before you made a decision. I represent the Bridge Carroll J Block Club in Ohio City, and our block club does back up against the back end of the county archives building, and we do have some residents are very concerned about this project. But to sum it up, and I have 3 minutes, so I don't want to go into a lot of detail, but I will tell you that we feel that we were bypassed in the process. Now, I know Welcome House came back to the community, and we had all kinds of community meetings about this, but it was almost after the fact. These are two very important historic buildings and very important to the people that live there. My husband and I moved to Ohio City 10 years ago, and we moved there very consciously. We love the idea that it was a historic district and there were many beautiful buildings that have real meaning. So what we feel is that there's been a real lack of creativity in deciding what to do with these buildings. And if our Community Development Corporation had been engaged initially in the process, I think this would have gone differently. But it was not. They were told after the fact. Our block clubs are very, very passionate and they're very active. We care deeply about what happens. We've all invested. We live there. And I think this is not a good way for the county to proceed forward without, when you make a decision like this in a residential area, your other county buildings have been in commercial areas. This is where people really live, but we are really engaged. And I think this has been flawed, and I think it doesn't reflect well on the county process and the new direction you're trying to go. We care deeply about this neighborhood, and we wanted to be part of this discussion. In fact, we were a part of the discussion after the fact. Thank you for your time.
George Raybeck.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm a resident of the neighborhood on West 31st Place, 1800, just down the street from where the Welcome House will be located. I have lived in the neighborhood for 35 years and worked in the neighborhood for 41 years. I'm the former staff person and executive director of Lutheran Metropolitan Ministry and have been fully engaged in the neighborhood for all of those years, helping to establish the Near West Theater, the community gardens at Franklin and 38th, and a number of other, I think, long-lasting services that have served the community well in the neighborhood. It's been a great neighborhood to live in. I've raised my boys there. They attended high school, grade school and high school in the neighborhood, and it's always been a welcoming neighborhood. And I really want to say that even though there's been criticism, or some folks have been concerned about all of the social services in the neighborhood, sometimes sadly indicating that it attracts the wrong kind of people into the neighborhood. I would assert that the social services in the neighborhood, most of them have really been an anchor in the neighborhood and have really contributed to what's happened in our neighborhood. That's certainly positive, and there certainly have been improvements in the neighborhood over the 35 years I've lived there. So I, and the neighbors that I live with on West 31st Place fully support Welcome House. It's going to serve people who will benefit from the services, who are going to be contributing members of the community, and they're not poor people. Some of them may be at the low end of the income scale, but they're not poor people, and they are not delinquents, but they are disabled young people who certainly have a right and need an opportunity to become a vibrant part of our neighborhood. So thank you.
Thank you.
Bill Merriman.
Thank you, everyone, for the privilege of being here. Bill Merriman's the name, 3011 Church Avenue, where my wife and I have lived since 1971. Just across the way from us, we live on Church, the next street is Detroit, there's a park that for many years served as a place for kids to throw a baseball or for people to walk their dog. In 1968, Carl Stokes pulled up into that strip of grass. Somebody had dug a hole in the ground, and he had a sapling pine tree at his side. It had been a very difficult, divisive campaign, and he wanted to leave it behind him. So he planted a tree. That pine tree next to the bop stop is now probably 40 feet tall. His dream was that some gesture might bring people together. A few years ago, another man pulled up in a car. A machine had dug a hole in the ground, and rather than a pine tree, it was a London Plains tree, kind of a tree that was raised in England to survive in the dense, bitter, acidic smog of that culture. But the tree was planted perhaps as a sign of overcoming the harshness of life. And Frank Jackson planted that tree in a place called Jim Mahone Green, a place that had been ignored except for a little boy who 60 years previously had hunted worms. They're selling the worms so they could buy some bread and so he could catch a fish for his family down in the projects. Our neighborhood is a neighborhood of dreams, of pulling together, of letting kids and adults put down roots and achieve the dream that is the American dream. And it's a blessing and a privilege to be part of the community. Joe Zimmerman today and Helen Smith in years gone by provided that leadership to make this dream possible, one tortuous year after another. Mary Rose Okar is the one who reminded us that it's the property, the records that has to be cherished, and that's part of your desire as well. Thank you for being the county. Thank you for being the leadership in the place where dreams for all people, handicapped, disabled or not, can come to fruition. The neighborhood, not like those neighborhoods where people run away from problems, but where people are drawn together to solve them. And we'd be betraying that dream handed on to us by Carl Stokes and others if we'd come up with any other choice. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Member.
Sylvia James.
Thank you once again. My name is Sylvia James, representing Titus Teaching Individuals Teaching Us. I was with you before. I'm still on the same page in regards to the SBE 5% participation. I did a little bit of research, and it showed that they have to have good faith. Good faith is what your contractors have to have for the African American or the small business participation, and they only have to give them 1 week to review in order to bid. So it's really hard for a person of a small business to be able to have 1 week to be able to gather all of the data in regards to bidding on a project. So my question is, where is the leeway? Where are you representing us, whereas we only have a week to bid? So how can we go out and get quotes if we're quoting on a project and only have a week to bid? I mean, it's in your small business enterprise program. I think that's what you have on your county pages. So my question once again is accountability. Accountability for allowing the African Americans, the women-owned businesses, to be able to be a part of your project, your convention center hotel project. That is something that I just want to bring to your attention, because it's really hard for the African American small businesses to participate if you just give them that limited amount of time. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
No, Madam Chair, no one else.
Okay, all meetings of the Cuyahoga County Council are open to the public under the Ohio Open Meeting Laws. Under that law, council may go into executive session during the meeting for specifically authorized purposes. During executive session, council confers outside the hearing of the public. Council may not make any decisions about any matters in executive session. All matters are made in public. This evening, council will go into executive session to discuss a matter of collective bargaining. During this session, our live stream will be down, and we will have asked all those specifically not needed for the executive session to leave. Council, folks, could you keep it down, please? Anyone may re-enter after it. Is there a motion to go into executive session for the purposes of dealing with the matter involving collective bargaining?
Yes.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Gallagher and seconded by Mr. Germana. Will you call the roll?
Calling the roll to move in.
Council still in session.
Calling the roll to move into executive session. Mr. Gallagher? Yes. Mr. Schron?
He's absent.
Ms. Conwell? Mr. Jones? Mr. Rogers? Ms. Simon? Mr. Miller? Mr. Brady? Mr. Germana? And Ms. Conley?
Yes.
Motion carries.